Last Tuesday I buried my husband, but the truth was even worse. I discovered my wife kissing her ex in our bedroom. How could she have betrayed me? I stood in the marble hall with my coat wet from rain. She thought I was the poor man she married. She did not know about the estate I had built in secret. She did not know about the private plane or the bank name that sat on my hidden account. I felt my hands shake under the chandelier light. I thought of the blood oath we made in the library years ago, and I remembered how I once swore I would never show my fortune. How could she kiss him with my portrait on the wall? I waited for the moment she would explain. I planned my cold revenge in the garden. The butler closed the door softly. Then someone knocked very hard on the bedroom door. I came home after 5 years abroad. I wore cheap shoes and a torn jacket. I walked into the estate like a lost man. The butler bowed and did not look at me. The mansion had dust on the stairs. The ballroom curtains were closed. I heard soft laughter in the wing. I had an old photograph in my pocket. In the photo we were young and happy. My wife, Layla, smiled and held my hand. We took a blood oath in the library when we were poor. We swore to stay true when money came or left. I left town because people mocked my business. I promised I would return only when I had proof. I needed time to build a fortune in silence. I worked day and night in a small office. I sent gifts with other names. I paid for small renovations. Nobody knew. Now I came with new papers and a new name. I wanted to test her heart. I wanted to see who loved me, the man or the fortune. I sat in the garden and watched her leave a small cake on the porch. Her phone buzzed. She read a message and smiled. The smile was warm, not for me. I walked to the house and heard a voice I knew. It was the ex, Omar. He laughed. My chest tightened. I remembered the oath in the portrait room. I remembered the words, "We never break our vows." I had one rule left. I would expose the truth in front of everyone. I would reveal my secret fortune at the next dinner. But first I needed proof of her betrayal. I stepped into the hallway and the chandelier light hit a small silver pin on the carpet. It was the same pin she wore when she left me. A sound came from the bedroom. The door was ajar. I saw a shadow on the bed. My heart beat fast. Then a voice called my name softly from behind the door. I opened the bedroom door a little and the world moved slow. I saw Layla and Omar close together by the bed. They did not know I watched. My stomach turned. I felt the old pain from when they left town. I had thought of revenge for many nights. I planned a simple trap to catch them. I had invited the family for a small party in the ballroom. I told the staff to be ready. The butler asked no questions. That night I wore a plain shirt and sat in the library. I listened through the wall as Layla talked and laughed. She spoke of money and new plans. She spoke of my name as if it were nothing. I felt each word like a stone. I found papers on the desk with Omar's name and a list of dates. That list showed many secret meetings. I took a hidden photo with my old phone. I placed a call to my cousin who worked at the local paper. I asked him to come to the party. I told him only to watch. At dinner I spoke softly and smiled. I acted like a poor man again. Layla sat near the portrait and held Omar's hand under the table. My cousin slipped to the back with a camera. The music played and the chandelier light was low. I raised a glass and told a story about a man who lost his luck but kept his honor. Layla laughed and the wine shone in her eyes. Then my cousin stood. He showed the photos on a small screen. The room fell silent. I felt the air leave the ballroom. Layla's face went white. She looked at me as if she had seen a ghost. Omar tried to stand. He stammered and said, "Marco, but my cousin pressed play and the video showed them in our bedroom, laughing and kissing." The family stepped back. The heir, my brother, looked shocked. The butler stayed still. Layla reached for words and could not find any. She mouthed the oath words from the portrait room that we once swore together. I watched her and I remembered the blood oath. I remembered how we promised to protect each other. How could she break that oath? The front door opened. Someone arrived with a slow step. I did not know who it was, but I felt the room tilt. The man at the door was my old lawyer. He walked in with a heavy folder. He looked at me and nodded. He had the bank papers I had hidden for years. He placed them on the table and opened them. The room read the name of the real owner of the estate. My name was on the files, but with a new title: majority heir, fortune holder, secret investor. Layla's hands began to tremble. The lawyer read the final page aloud. He said I had transferred the estate to a trust long ago. He said the fortune returned to me now, by law. People gasped. Omar's face burned with shame. My brother stepped forward and asked why I hid this for so long. I said nothing. I let the silence work. Layla whispered, "Marco, why?" I remembered the night I left. I remembered how they laughed at me at dinner and how they called me a liar. I remembered the oath. I remembered the portrait we both painted in the library, where we promised to be honest. She had broken it. I had one more plan. I stood and walked to the portrait room. I felt the estate in each step. The chandelier above the portrait shone on the old frame. I pulled out a small sealed letter from behind the painting. The letter was for her. It said, "If you ever choose money over oath, you will face me as the true heir." I read it aloud. The words were simple and cold. They said I forgave her once, but I could not forget her choices. A small child in the room began to cry. My brother covered his face. Layla fell to a chair and wept. But then she said one more thing. She said she had a reason. She had been afraid. She said Omar had threatened to expose a secret about my past if she left him. She said she felt trapped and she kissed him to keep him quiet. The room grew heavy. I felt anger and pity at the same time. The butler moved forward with a tray. He placed an old ring in my hand. It was the ring I gave when we were poor. Layla's eyes found it and she remembered the night we vowed together. In that moment I saw two choices. I could ruin her publicly. Or I could break the blood oath in a new way. I could free us both by telling the truth about what I had done in secret. The lawyer cleared his throat. Outside, a car horn blew. A new voice said one name in a low tone. It was the name that would change everything, Omar. Who would speak next? I chose a third way. I told the family that I had returned to test love, not to punish. I said I had hidden the fortune to watch who loved me and who loved my name. I said the blood oath was broken by choices, but I could mend it by truth. I gave Layla back the old ring and asked her to speak the truth. She told everything in the garden under the chandelier light. She said she was ashamed and she asked forgiveness. I did not ruin her. I did not raise my voice. I told Omar to leave and never come back. The lawyer signed papers that made the estate safe for the whole family, not only for me. I learned that revenge can feel good for a moment, but honesty lasts. The lesson I share with you is simple: money can hide in a mansion, but it cannot hide the heart. If you promise an oath, keep it. If you break it, face the truth and fix what you can. In the end, I kept my honor and found a small peace. I locked the portrait room and walked to the garden where the flowers still moved in the wind. As I left, Layla called my name. I turned once and I thought of the old photograph. The night closed like a curtain, but I felt the weight lift. Will I forgive fully? I do not know. But I will not let anger live in my chest. I will let truth live there instead.